Welcome back to Matchday Live, half-time here at the Etihad Stadium, and it's Manchester City 3, Watford 1, 4 points clear at the top. If this continues, and of course we'll break another record, beating the same team 15 consecutive times in a row. Still 45 minutes to go though, but let's tuck into those 45 minutes. Mr. Paul Dickov, I'm going to come to you first. I mean, we asked for an early goal and we asked for a quick tempo performance from City, and I think we got all those things and more.
Yeah, started fantastically well. You know, great ball by Zinchenko, we spoke about a lot before the game. Gabriel Jesus in between the posts, like all good strikers should be. And then I think that just settled everybody down a little bit after the nerves the first half the other night there. And then fantastic ball by Kevin. Gabriel Jesus has been outstanding today, making it 2-0. We'll let them back in a little bit, lack of communication. You know, the full-backs ran off the back. I think it was Jesus and then Rodri, I think, whereas if they just talk to each other they can pick him up. But then what a fantastic goal by Rodri. So yeah, 3-1. I'm very happy, and it's been a good game. You know, got to give Watford a bit of credit. We were talking about how defensive they were going to be before the game. They've came here and had a right good goal, which has opened the game up. Well,
I think generally as well, Michael, and even at the end there, kind of there was another little break, and I guess there is that kind of warning sign, say, all right, maybe 3-1, but actually they can do a fair bit going forward as well.
I think we said that exactly, didn't we? That obviously Watford will try and stay in and try and make sure they didn't get countered, but what they would be good at is counter-attacking, and ultimately the way João Cancelo got a little bit fortunate, didn't he? When he lost the ball, some great recovery runs, Zinchenko especially getting back, but it's about City for me. Yeah, you talk about some quality that Watford have shown at times when you're being progressive, but when it's comfortable for Man City like it has been, creating opportunities in wider areas, people taking chances. But what about the ball from Kevin De Bruyne? I mean, I stood there, I watched it, sat right behind it, and I thought, God, he's going to take his touch, and you know straight away that's the point to actually attack the box. And he literally just curls it round. It's as good as as good a ball as you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Sublime balls, some great things in the first half, and it's exactly what we wanted. You talked about 5 minutes, you stayed quiet, and I did it come in 4.
He came in 4.
Right, so the moral of the story is
just keep quiet.
Don't say anything.
Yeah, I've learned my lesson. Stephen Goodwin, you will have been here as well, obviously, for the game against Brighton and felt the nerves. It did feel, I think, obviously, that it was slightly more relaxed in the stadium, and the first goal does that. And then do you think you could see the effect on the players on the pitch? It just was a very complete performance.
Yeah, at this stage of the season, it really is just about getting the job done, isn't it? They know it, we know it, even Watford know that City just want a win regardless. And when you get that early goal, and given our record against Watford, I did breathe a little bit. I didn't think they'd score, I'll be honest, but at that point I was like, right, calm, everyone calm down. And the second goal, of course, really helped. Watford, fair play to them, they've got back in it a little bit. We're just giving them a little bit. Give us some cheer. It's unbelievably patronising. No, they're a good side, but it did feel a little bit like City reset, refocused after that, of course, and a quality goal from Rodri. But the atmosphere in the general stadium is one of relief right now, because at this stage it really is just about winning and winning and winning, because there's 5 games left after this, Cal. 5 very big games.
They are indeed, and 3 points needed in every single one of them. Let's take a look at the key moments in the game, though, of course. Lots of goals to talk about. First goal, Gabriel Jesus, and it kind of came from what we'd alluded to at the start of the show, Paul, as well, that we are going to need the fullbacks to drive on, and it was the Zinchenko assist, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And we're talking about that, whether our wingers, well, I actually said I thought our wingers would have stayed really wide, but they've tucked in. I think Bruyne touching it for fullbacks to go on, and Zinchenko's been excellent in this half, defensively and with the ball. Great ball across, and how many times do we sort of sit?
You like those ones, don't you?
Of course you do.
You've got to be in the right area.
In there, but how many times do we see balls flashing across the front of the 6-yard box and nobody's in there? With 3 players in the box at that time as well, and considering Gabby's sort of playing more to the right than centre forward, he's made sure he's in there and got his rewards for it.
And do you think as well that's kind of also what's maybe confused the defence a bit? Because my brother was he turned to me and was like, well, who's not picked him up there? And I said, well, actually he's come from the right side of the pitch to then centrally, and they've obviously having to then pick up whoever else was centre, so actually him coming in is actually more of a threat in a way.
And all 3 of our goals have came from wide areas anyway.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to play against City when you look and you say, well, who's this false 9 we're talking about, or someone playing through in the middle, Kevin De Bruyne going on to join, some other runs, late midfield runs, and it's so difficult. Inverted wide players coming inside, so allowing full-backs to get around, and it's just about deliveries, and that's what I've actually enjoyed about the first half. And we've talked about Liverpool a little bit more direct. We've talked about in the last few weeks of build-up, getting in around teams and drawing them out, and then we're seeing now from wide areas good crosses. So I'm sure they must work on it, because they do it more against certain teams than they would against others.
I think on that as well, Watford back 4 is so narrow.
Yeah.
The two fullbacks are defending the 18-yard box.
Yeah.
So
But that is Roy, though, isn't it? That is Roy Hudson, that you actually defend
as soon
the
as
box
our wide
first.
players come in, they've got to pick them up, and that's why Zinchenko and Cancelo's getting so much space down
Out
the
on the
flanks. And
sides.
that's 3 goals have came from wide areas.
Yeah, well, let's move on to that second goal then. And Stephen, it was Gabriel Jesus again, and Michael Brown mentioned it at the top of the show there, the ball from Kevin De Bruyne.
What more can we say about him? To me, he's possibly the best player in the world right now. I think he's that good. He's absolutely sensational. We know he has the quality, but for me, the thing about De Bruyne, as well as that technique, is the heart and the drive. And he feels like the leader on the pitch at the moment for me. The way that he grabs everyone else by the scruff of the neck and drags them through games like this, he's absolutely got the bit between his teeth right now. And once again, a huge influence. I think he's got something like 14 goal assists, goal involvements in his last 9 games for City, which is quite sensational. I think it's 9 assists and 9 goals and 5 assists, which has it all about the man. He's absolutely determined to make sure we're going to do this, and win the league. And you must be terrified as Watford lining up like someone Kevin De Bruyne, because I don't think the defending was even particularly that bad. It was just the quality's that good, isn't it, from the cross?
You can't defend that.
Can you defend
He's
that?
so tight. They were tight, and the delivery, because he could actually get his foot around it.
Yeah.
You literally, you think you're in the line of it, and you're not, because he literally just does that.
Yeah.
And he knows that corridor. It's difficult for the goalkeeper to come out. But what for me is, it's on point. Like the second he gets it, you know straight away that touch, so everyone just goes.
Yes.
So there's no other player that you'd get, for instance, playing for City or other clubs, that you know it's going to be in and around it, so you can go. Everyone can. And I think he's got the trust that the delivery is going to be good, because generally, other times, Pep Guardiola sort of says, listen, we could lose that one, let's build up, let's come back inside, take another pass. But with him, I think he realises that the delivery's that good, and it's a goal-scoring opportunity straight away.
I think the only comparison that I've ever seen was Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah.
And coming through at Arsenal and the relationship him and Ian Wright and then Henry used to have, and Ian Wright and Terry Henry as centre forwards used to say that if Dennis had the ball, they wouldn't turn round to see if the ball was coming. They would just make the run, because he knew his ability was that good that the ball was landing there, and it's the exact same with Kevin De Bruyne.
So it's 2-0. It was looking okay, cruise control, and then there was a Watford goal round here. And Paul, you said it, but was there a slight mix-up confusion here? Kind of how did that one play out?
I think there's just uncertainty. There's forward runs, as we said. Watford will sit in the shape, but they're going to go forward where they can very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And so I know Pep Guardiola, if you'd have seen his reaction, he literally slammed the floor. He was so disappointed that they conceded a goal. But it happens, doesn't it? Do you know, the distances, it was a great finish into the far corner, out of the reach of Ederson, and that's just the way, it happens. A bit disappointing. So 2 opportunities. They took one of them after the great recovery run from Zinchenko. But what was ironic, which you'll probably go on to, is if there was injury to Kevin De Bruyne, you're thinking, well, we'll kick the ball out, and look what happens.
And it was that man, poor Gabriel Jesus. We kind of he pushed on, thought he'd lost it, he won it back, and I mean, you can talk us through that third goal.
Yeah, he's just he's been sensational. On and off the ball, and I think he has been in recent weeks when he's played. We spoke about that before the game. But he's closed down, he's work rate, and then he's got the vision, he's got the calmness to pick Rodri out the edge of the box, and the touch and finish. I mean, we were right behind it here. We couldn't have any better view. And it was just a sensational goal, and he absolutely loved that one, Rodri.
It was one from nothing, wasn't it? Because you're seeing De Bruyne was on the floor, and you're thinking, what should he do? And he just touched it forward because he had no choice to take it away from Kevin. And at that point, it's sat up when he's hit a worldie, hasn't he? It's a top corner.
It's an absolute dream when it sets up like that.
Do you know what? He deserves that for me.
He does.
Do you know all the work, all the people about how he's improved on the ball, off the ball, the runs he makes, but to hit one like that for a midfield player who does a lot of work, you don't often get that. We've seen one early on in the season that he did. But what I really liked, I don't know if you've seen it, he was looking up to the monitor before the game restarted. He's just watching the monitor behind us, and he stood there and he's looking up and he sees the goal and he thinks, I can't watch any longer because someone's going to see me watching. And he actually just goes, yeah, not bad enough. He says, come on, let's get forward.
Guess he went toilet drawing that as well.
No, you didn't.
I did. I knew it was going to be an air at half time, so I legged it, just got back and heard everyone going crazy.
Quick question before we get on to reveal who's stat. If the ball had touched De Bruyne on the floor before Rodri hit it, would it have been a De Bruyne assist?
Yeah,
I think it might have been.
It would have been, would it? Yeah.
Come on, Ken.
Yeah, just listen.
We'll take
There's no stupid question on Matchday.
This was more interesting. I missed it.
Moving on swiftly. Okay, who's stat? We gave you 3 clues in our pre-match. I don't know if you'll have seen these, Stephen. If you haven't,
let's see how quick he gets this.
Yeah. Okay. Clue number 1, this player is featured for both Man City and today's opponents.
Go on.
Clue number 2, this player is in the top 10 for most appearances ever in the Premier League.
Keep going, it's all right.
Do you know
This player holds...
I thought it was David James.
This player holds a record for the most penalties saved in the Premier League, 13.
Was that not meant to say?
No. Michael Brown, who were you thinking after the second clue?
Well, I was waving at you, wasn't I, with my hands?
You said about goalkeeper early on. You say you agree with Stephen?
Stephen just said David James. Are we missing something?
Are you saying David James?
Is it somebody else?
I don't know. I'm asking you. Are you saying it's David James, Michael?
Well, look at this silhouette.
He didn't want to commit.
No.
He was so sure.
Honestly, I got it on the first one.
You got it on the first one? Nice. That was quickest one in the studio.
I recognised him. It's simple as that.
We're going to do something about the silhouette, I think. I think that's
the other day at Wembley, don't forget. So.
Oh, yeah. I'll make
There we
David.
go. So I made David.
I'll make James. Right. We are going to be back at full time. That was who's stat well into everyone who got it in. We've, of course, be asking for your questions as well on WhatsApp. And before we go back to Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison, this one came from Jason, okay? So to the legends, if you had 100 million to spend on one player in one position for next season, who would you bring in, the one and only player to sign?
I think you might have some change, guys.
Great,
I've got a feeling.
I think it'll be less than that.
Yeah? Who would it be?
I think I'd get 2 for that.
Okay. You can only have one,
I think
though.
the clause is a little bit less, is it not?
For who, Michael?
Well, I think we're all guessing on a Mr. Haaland. I think that's probably what everybody is saying.
Yeah.
Whether he's been in and around the area recently, we'll have to wait and find out.
Fingers crossed. Paul, would you agree? Is that the position you'd want to strengthen?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. I'll get on to Alfie again. Don't worry about that.
Alfie's in trouble if he doesn't come.
Yeah, Paul.
If the bid was going in for the club, for example,
Yeah.
then he'd be in trouble if it didn't happen, wouldn't he, Paul?
It's highly on Alfie, I guess, isn't it?
He's been told. Don't worry.
Good, thank you. It's good to hear. I've heard Sean as well has been on to him, but I trust you more being on to him, Paul. I think. Thank you. All right, we can squeeze in one more little cheeky question. Oh, this is from Josh. Who's better, Ronaldo or Prime Aguero?
What, Ronaldo?
Yeah.
I think we're saying the centre forward Ronaldo. We're saying
R9?
Yeah, R9. Go on,
Very
who you
similar.
thinking?
Very similar players, genuinely. More similar than we realised. And to be honest, I've got a side of my man, of course, but Ronaldo's one of my favourite players of all time. Absolutely. Aguero, of course.
Aguero. Aguero. I thought you were going to go.
I think he's gone Ronaldo there. He's had a reason.
No, do you know who he reminded me
Me
of?
and Paul were looking
Mario.
and saying, on you go, you answer it. Because
No, it's Aguero, of course.
It's Aguero.
But he reminds me of Mario, actually. That would have been an interesting comparison.
Paul?
the teams are out here.
For longevity, it's got to be Aguero.
Of course it does.
The amount of period he scored his goals through.
So true. Thank you for the question, Josh. Right, there we are. Players in the tunnel. So that is our cue to wrap up. Come join Matchday Live. I'll be back with all our guys in the studio at full time. We'll talk about the 45 minutes and looking ahead to Real Madrid as well. Fingers crossed we'll be sitting 4 points at the top of the Premier League on the other side of this half. Alistair Mann, Andy Morrison, over to you. You can catch them on the City app. And we'll see you at full time. Come on, City.
Thank you, Kel. Welcome back to the second half here at the Etihad Stadium. There are no players out on the pitch at the moment. The ground staff are prodding the pitch with their forks and making it the pristine surface that we have come to expect at the Etihad.